Imagine standing at the end of a street, your street. Not just any street, it's Grove Street, your home, your pride, your pain. Once it was alive, a family forged from bonds thicker than blood, green flags flying high, faces that smiled, kids playing in the cul-de-sac. Here, a gang wasn't just survival, it was your family. But now, the flags burn. The laughter replaced with silence. The family shattered into ruins. You left Grove Street. No, you escaped it. Escaped him. Sweet, your older brother, always standing taller than you, stronger than you. He had expectations, and you could never meet them. So when Brian died, the blame fell squarely on you. Sweet didn't say goodbye. He just said you let him die. His words burned into your mind as you walked away, duffel bag in hand. Grove Street got smaller and smaller in the distance until it was nothing, and you promised you wouldn't come back. Liberty City. It was your escape, your chance to start over. Steel skyscrapers loomed overhead, their jagged silhouettes sharper than any blade. Here, the streets didn't speak your language, but you adapted. Joey Leone gave you a job, stealing cars for the mob. Small-time crimes turned into steady pay. You'd tell yourself, I'm doing fine. This is better than Los Santos. But at night, the memories came. Green flags, Brian's laughter, Sweet's rage, Mom's smile. And still, you told yourself, I'm never going back. Then the phone rang. CJ, Mom's gone. The words hit harder than any bullet. Sweet's voice was cold, his anger barely masked behind grief. You didn't ask how it happened. You didn't ask who did it, because none of it mattered. You bought the first ticket back to Los Santos. The plane ride across the country tore at you. All you could think about was everything you left unfinished. The blood, the pain, the family you abandoned. Brian's face haunted you, staring back as if daring you to return. And the truth cut deep. You didn't leave Grove Street to survive. You left Grove Street because you were afraid. The plane lands. The city greets you like you're a stranger. Taxi tires screech against the faded roads of Ganton, reminding you that you don't belong here anymore. The skyline hasn't changed, but Grove Street, it's dead. Faded graffiti clings to the walls. The families, Seville, Temple, Grove, all fractured, scattered to the wind. The Ballas own the streets now. Their purple flags mock the green you once wore, and the only laughter echoing in the air belongs to crack fiends and shadowed dealers. You don't even make it to the funeral before the first obstacle. Blue lights illuminate your face. The barrel of a gun gleams in your direction. Crash. Frank Tenpenny drags you out of the taxi like a dog. Welcome back, CJ, he sneers. Los Santos missed you. Crash doesn't care about your grief. They care about owning you, your life, your freedom. And Tenpenny's words bite deep. You work for us, or you die for us. By the time you limp back to the Ra, Johnson House, when the funeral's already begun. Sweet stands tall, shoulders heavy with the weight of leadership. His words cut through the tension. Carl, you shouldn't have come back. You swallow the anger, the shame. I had to, Sweet. The silence between you two is louder than any gunshot. And when Kendall speaks, passionate, fearless, you realize how much strength she's gained in your absence. But the silence always comes back to Brian. Sweet won't say it, but you see it in his eyes. You let him die. You abandoned us. Still, the funeral doesn't mark the end, it marks the beginning. Big Smoke pulls you aside, his voice loud and familiar. CJ, it's time to do what we were born to do. It's time to rebuild Grove Street. You don't hesitate, because for the first time in years, you feel alive. Weeks pass like days. You hit the streets with Sweet. with Smoke, with Ryder. Grove Street dusts off its colors, reclaiming territory block by block. The Seville families, the Temple families, the Aztecas. You bring them all back under one banner, under Sweet's leadership. The streets whisper your name again. CJ's back. Grove Street's rising. It feels good. It feels right. But when you see Smoke and Ryder whispering behind doors, you ignore it. When Caesar pulls you aside and says, CJ, something ain't right with Smoke and Ryder, you tell him he's wrong. You have to believe he's wrong, until you see it with your own eyes. The ambush, gang members shouting, bullets flying. And there they stand, Big Smoke. Ryder, standing beside the Ballas and laughing, standing beside Crash and smiling. You get Sweet out, but not without cost. He's bleeding, and as you haul him away, the sirens come. Another betrayal, another loss. They arrest Sweet. They exile you. And the empire you rebuilt crumbles again. But exile isn't the end for you. No, exile is where you thrive. In rural Whetstone, you find clarity. You meet new faces. The truth, Woozy, Torino. You build partnerships based not on blind loyalty, but on mutual strength. In San Fierro, you run a garage that turns into a car theft ring. In Las Venturas, you infiltrate casinos and outsmart the mob itself. Every step forward prepares you for the ultimate return. When you come back to Los Santos, it's not as the scared kid who ran away. You come back as a man who's faced loss, betrayal, and exile. Tenpenny falls, Ryder falls, and finally, Big Smoke falls, in the crack palace he built on lies and blood. But Sweet's still by your side. In the end, Grove Street stands tall again. Not as a memory, but as a legacy. Not because anyone gave you an easy road. Not because you were destined to win. Grove Street rose because you fought for it. Because you refused to let it die. And with green flags flying once again, you stand at the center of it. Carl C.J. Johnson. You weren't chosen. You weren't destined. But you rose anyway. Because that's who you've always been. Grove Street will never forget.
Carl C.J. Johnson's journey in Grand Theft Auto. San Andreas is a compelling story of redemption, family bonds, betrayal, and self-discovery. At its core, CJ's tale is driven by his return to Los Santos after abandoning his home and family for 5 years. Haunted by the guilt of his younger brother Brian's death and the accusations of his older brother Sweet, CJ flees Grove Street, where he was once part of one of the most powerful gangs in the city. His journey back is catalyzed by the loss of his mother, Beverly Johnson, whose death forces him to confront the broken family he left behind. Returning to a life he thought he had escaped, CJ finds Grove Street in ruins, overtaken by the rival Ballas gang and plagued by the rise of crack cocaine. His return is met with cold resentment from Sweet and weary acceptance from his sister Kendall, setting the stage for CJ to prove his commitment to his family and to restoring their former legacy. However, building trust and reclaiming Grove Street from chaos is only the first of many battles CJ faces. One of the central themes of CJ's tale is betrayal and the corruption of power. CJ's childhood friends, Ryder and Big Smoke, betray him and the gang he's trying to rebuild by siding with the Ballas and working with Crash, a corrupt police unit. Big Smoke, in particular, becomes a representation of everything Grove Street once opposed, building his empire on drugs, manipulation, and alliances with Tenpenny and Pulaski of Crash. Their betrayals are deeply personal to CJ, forcing him to confront not only external enemies, but also the heartbreak of losing the bonds he once trusted most. The systemic corruption of Los Santos, embodied by Crash and its leader Tenpenny, further amplifies CJ's struggle, as he finds himself repeatedly manipulated and forced to work under oppressive powers to ensure his survival. Despite these betrayals and setbacks, CJ continues to fight, holding on to his determination to restore his family and reclaim Grove Street's honor. CJ's time in exile after Sweet's arrest marks a turning point in his growth. Stripped of everything he knows, he moves beyond Grove Street and begins to rebuild his life outside of Los Santos. This exile, far from being a defeat, becomes a period of transformation. In rural Whetstone, San Fierro, and Las Venturas, CJ learns to adapt, overcome new challenges, and build alliances with individuals such as Woozy, The Truth, and Mike Torino. He proves his resourcefulness by turning a rundown San Fierro garage into a thriving business, taking control of a casino in Las Venturas, and infiltrating enemy organizations to dismantle their power structures. More importantly, this phase of CJ's journey gives him the time and clarity to grow beyond his identity as merely a gang member. He becomes a strategist, a businessman, and a leader in his own right, tempered by the hardships of exile and betrayal. This newfound strength and perspective prepare CJ for his ultimate return to Los Santos, where he faces his past head-on. When CJ finally reclaims Los Santos, he is no longer the scared and guilt-ridden man who left 5 years earlier. Armed with the skills, resources, and alliances he built in exile, he takes back Grove Street with purpose and resolve. The confrontation with his old friend Big Smoke is more than just vengeance. It represents the final purge of the corruption and disloyalty that had infected Grove Street and his personal life. Similarly, the demise of Crash and Tenpenny marks the fall of the oppressive systems that sought to exploit CJ and his community. With Tenpenny dead and Grove Street back under his control, CJ fulfills his commitment to his family and the legacy of his mother. However, his victory is bittersweet. While Sweet is finally free and Grove Street is restored, the scars of betrayal and loss remain.